we've seen the video. Hopefully most of you have, and watched in awe, but not the correct awe, more shaking your head going, what is this tow rag doing? A 50-year-old Aucklander man that was slapped, he's been slapped with a $600 infringement after attempting to body slam an orca. The video was shared on Instagram. This is when in February it was reported to the Department of Conservation that showed this man jump from the boat into the sea. This was off the coast of Devonport after near a male orca and a calf. The man yelled, "I touched it," to other people on the boat, and then asked, "Did you get it?" You know, and apparently a reference to the filming, and you could see people standing there with beer bottles and people screaming and swearing, lots of beeps. As well as the dive, he then swam towards it again in a second attempt to touch it. Doc said the man was identified with the help of police, and 2 doc staff went to his home to speak about the incident, but they said he basically refused to speak to them and didn't provide an explanation of why he did it. So no remorse. Didn't say, "Gosh, at the time, guys, you know, a few beersies in the sun, I'm a dick. Sorry about that. Oh, I'll never do it again. Oh, please." He was like, "Well, whatever." As well as attempting to dive on it, as I said, he went near it again. In the video, I can't work out whether he's aimed at did he get the calf or did he get the male orca? Either way, he shouldn't have done it at all. Jo Halliday is co-founder of whalerescue.org, and she is with me now. Jo, good afternoon.
Hi, Leah. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, look, I've got to say, my producers put you up on my my board as Jo Floppy Halliday. So
that's the one.
So without, I hope this isn't too personal. What's Floppy?
Floppy was given to me as a nickname from my father when I was just very little, because I used to flop about everywhere, and so it kind of stuck. And that's kind of the gist of the whole story.
Oh, it's it. All right, not as bad as we thought.
A lot more innocent than people often think.
That's it. It's innocent. Hey, now what is innocent is this tow rag, jumping in the ocean onto orcas. Have you seen anything like? Have you seen anything like this before?
Arrogance.
Yeah.
No, not that kind of not that kind of rude behaviour. Sometimes people, do things and they get a bit close for comfort, and sometimes it's just sheer, ignorance of the fact that they're not reading what the animals are doing in the first place. But to deliberately do what he did, and then just listening to you going back over that story for everyone is quite interesting. I didn't realise that he was not committing to any comments to the police or doc, which makes it, really the height of arrogance as far as I'm concerned.
Because what are the rules around whales, Jo, orca, but other whales? Are we allowed? I know there's whale. You can go out on a boat. But how close are you allowed to get? And obviously, you're not allowed to touch them.
No, it's not a good idea to do that. The initial, larger whales, particularly females with calves, if it's larger whales, it's actually a 200-metre distance. And with orca and other, dolphins and things like that, you're usually looking at, orca are 50 metres, and I actually think that's incredibly close because in the Bay of Islands, you're not supposed to be within 300 metres of a pot of bottlenose dolphin. So, all these rules have slight differences to them, but orca particularly, I think, is crazy to have a 50-metre distance simply because they're the ones who are probably more likely to be encountered in around shorelines and places where people are a bit more frequent in visiting. So, giving them a little bit of space is highly important, but I don't even know that 50 metres is often, the greatest amount. It should be a little bit more than that, really.
Do you know why? Because you said the orcas are more likely to come closer than others. Are they quite curious? Or why do they do that?
They can be curious, but the main reason would be that they are likely to be after things like stingrays or eagle rays. Through Dr. Visser's work, she has discovered that we have the only orca in the world that eat rays, and they actually share feed with those little ones. So that big brother could have been actually looking after his little sister or little baby brother, and he could have been going along trying to get food and share it. I've seen some amazing sites where they've just ripped off the wings of the poor old stingrays, but they've taken it across and fed their young with it, there's a whole matriarchal system that goes with orca. So all the family stays with their mothers and their grandmothers throughout their whole entire life. And the only time that they stray is when they really need to stray, if you know what I'm saying.
Incredible.
Go in there and mix up the genetic code and then come back to their mothers and their grandmothers.
Sounds like very human. Are they? I mean, they're an apex predators. So this guy is actually quite lucky, isn't he? That nothing happened to him. He could have scared them. He obviously gave them a fright, but nothing happened to him.
Yeah, and it's really hard to know, Leah. I mean, it might have been that they got such a fright that they just went, let's get the hell out of here, and moved off without thinking about, what was happening to them until they'd moved well away. But he's lucky in the fact that a lot of orca too, when they are chasing things like sharks or dolphin, something that's, reasonably good size and body length and weight, some of these orca will actually slam their tails and they'll break the backs of dolphin or sharks or whatever. So, if that had happened, that could have in itself been extremely serious, because also, too, for the taxpayer, because the Coast Guard would have got called out, the police would have got called out, maritime police. There would have been a whole host of other agencies that could have ended up having to deal with a major problem that one person caused. So there's that side of it as well.
Yeah. So these animals are protected. It was a clear breach of the Marine Mammals Protection Act. Do you think it goes, is it strong enough? I don't think it is if he's only got a $600 infringement. I was told that in America, someone had put it up on social media, if you did something like that in the States, it's a $10,000 fine.
Yeah, well, if you look up the regulations under the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1978, you can actually find some of the rules up there. And Doc actually says you can either have 2 years of imprisonment or you could be fined up